דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ותפארת ולתהילה לך דודי לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה
לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי היא מקור הברכה מראש מקדם לסוכה
סוף נעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה
התעוררי התעוררי כי בעורך קומי אורי 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 שתדברי כבוד
אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה
We remain standing, turning to page 28 for our call to worship.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים lay me down God of peace and raise me up to a world of living oh safe from the storm in the shelter of your shalom השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו In the rising of the sun, we remember. In the blowing of the wind, we remember. In the opening of buds, we remember. We remember. When we're weary and need strength, we remember. When we're lost and sick at heart, we remember. When we've joys we yearn to share, we remember. We remember. So long as we live, they too shall live. They are now a part of us. They are now a part of us. As we remember, we remember. We remember.
Shabbat Shalom. We begin with the words Hava Nashira Shir Hallelujah, which means let us sing together. Please join us. Hava, Hava Nashira Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. Hava, Hava Nashira Shir Hallelujah. Shir hallelujah, hava, hava nashira. Shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah, hava, hava nashira. Shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah, hava, hava. Shir hallelujah, shir hallelujah, hallelujah.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome everyone to Central Synagogue. We want to welcome everyone who's joining us virtually. We want to welcome the congregation that's here in person. I know for many of you this is your first time coming back into Central Synagogue in some time, so welcome home. I'm Rabbi Ari Lorge. I'm joined by my colleague, Cantor Julia Cadrain, and with us are incredible members of our security team and our musicians and our facilities team and our IV team, all of whom are making it possible for us to worship together and to be together this morning. And in addition to Cantor Cadrain and myself, we have another important member of the team who's going to be helping lead us in worship this morning, and that's our Bar Mitzvah, Kent. We want to say Mazel Tov to you and your family and friends. If anyone could be called a child of this congregation, it's you, who are part of multiple generations of your family who will have stood on this bima and been a part of leading this congregation and blessing this congregation in so many ways. And it's really a beyond thrill for us to be able to call you up to Torah this morning. And I know we're all looking forward to hearing your teaching and seeing you up here leading us. I want to make sure that all of us can be as present as possible as Kent takes his place. So I'm going to invite you, if you're joining us virtually or if you're here in person, to just make sure there's nothing that will take you out of this experience that we can control. The car alarm outside, obviously, we can't do much about, but luckily somebody took care of it. But make sure your phones are off, that you don't have anything that's going to take you out of this experience, as I know we all want to be as present as we can with Kent this morning. And you'll want to make sure that you have one of our Sidurim, one of our prayer books. And if you're joining us virtually, you can find it online on our website. And we're going to begin by warming ourselves up, getting ourselves ready to pray, lifting up gratitude and joy for this morning and this day, for this joyous occasion that we're a part of, and for Shabbat, our weekly reminder of God's gifts and goodness all around us. And Cantor, how are we going to begin our warm-up? What are we starting with?
I'm so glad you asked, Rabbi. We are going to join in our call to prayer, the Baruch Hu, our way of saying we're here together, we're ready to pray, page 108, and we rise together in body or in spirit. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Please be seated, and we continue with the Shema, page 114. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לעצמכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Page 122, our Song of Freedom. Page 124, we rise in body or in spirit. Adonai sefatai tiftach u'ufiya b'tefillatcha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. We continue now with a few moments of personal reflective prayer. We invite you to remain standing or be seated as you're comfortable. Imrefi vehegyon libi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri.
We're going to continue now with Seder Kriyat Torah, the service for the reading of the Torah. So it's a privilege to get to call Kent and his immediate family up to the bima to help us begin that service. I think everyone on live stream can't hear what we hear from time to time this morning for some reason in the sanctuary, which is a car alarm going on. And I think we're giggling a little bit. I'm giggling, though, because I think what I hear is I hear all of Manhattan going, Kent, 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 Kent. And I think that's why the alarms are going off. Everyone knows what's going on.
I hear that too, Rabbi Large.
Absolutely.
It's very clear.
But since all of Manhattan is rejoicing with us, Kent, why don't you not delay any longer, if you would kick off the Torah service for us.
Shines forth from Zion. Adonai's teachings flow through Jerusalem. This scroll has nurtured our people from Sinai to today. It teaches us love and justice, hope and peace.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shema.
So in this moment, we recognize we're calling you to Torah. And it's not something we take for granted that thousands of years since we first stood at Mount Sinai and received the words of the scroll in front of you, we still are passing down this teaching from generation to generation. We know that in any moment, a generation could have decided, we're not going to move this forward. It's not important. We're gonna follow some other path. We're gonna go some other way. And yet here we are, thousands of years from that moment at Mount Sinai, still passing on this teaching that's been an anchor and a foundation for our people. And it makes us incredibly proud that someone like you, Kent, is coming forward to claim it this morning. Someone with such a big heart and a strong sense of self and good character. And to know with such assurance that somebody like you is going to be moving it forward fills us with pride and with hope for the Jewish future too. And so in some ways you stand here transported through that time all the way to Mount Sinai as if you yourself are claiming it that day, here and now. And we also know you're claiming it in a specific, see, I said here and now, and they're going, Kent, Kent, Kent. I will say, we also do take Torah in the specific time in which we live, and you are taking Torah during one of the more difficult moments in our people's history in the last several decades. The world has been swirling and changing around you, and yet you have continued your studies. You have, without pause or reservation, continued to walk towards this day, knowing that it might look different than you probably pictured, knowing that it would look different from so many generations of your family who have had this day in our sanctuary. And yet, I think that speaks to your own sense of resiliency and character and courage, that you, without any hesitancy, just kept going. And that's what our people have also done for thousands of years, knowing good times and bad times, continue to call themselves to Torah. And so we think certainly of this congregation who is so proud of you, of our past generations who are so proud of you. We think especially of your grandfather Michael, a president of this congregation, who we know is so proud of you. And knowing that you're also part of this specific family story, we want to let your parents share some words with you on this day as well.
I guess I'm speaking too.
I should have said brother as well. And I'll invite the rest of the congregation to be seated.
Okay. Well, here we are, and today is Kent's Bar Mitzvah. A little more than 2 years ago, I had my own Bar Mitzvah at Central. And now Kent has the honor of being welcomed as a man in the Jewish community. He has worked tirelessly to learn his Torah and Haftorah portions, with, of course, some help from fuzzy friends and Grandpa Bill. I know that you've been waiting for this for a long time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the service. So once again, because you're going to hear it way too much, trust me, congratulations on your bar mitzvah, and enjoy the special day that you deserve. Love your bro, Neil.
You ready?
No?
All right. To start, Peter and I want to thank everyone, near, far, and virtual, for sharing this special moment with Kent. We feel your love and support, and we say thank you. Dearest Kent, to begin with, Dad and I found helping you prepare for your bar mitzvah to be refreshing and enjoyable. Perhaps it was a strange side effect of being quarantined together for over a year, but maybe it was really just because it was a pleasure to spend this special time with you. It has been a true delight watching you chant with your Torah and Haftorah portions over Skype with Grandpa Bill, which has been a silver lining in this time of COVID. Actually, if we let him, Grandpa Bill might be tempted to run up here and start singing his own Haftorah, which he still knows by heart. Speaking of grandpas, we love that your bar mitzvah date coincides with Grandpa Michael's birthday. He would be so proud to see you on this bima. You've shared a very deep bond. Celebrating your birthday and his birthday back to back was always a special family event. Just before services began, we presented you with your tallis. There is a lot of love woven into it. You and I learned how to tie the seat. Grandma Joyce and I needle-pointed the collar, which reminds us of this beautiful sanctuary. May your tallis be a symbol of the love that we have for you today and always. May it remind you of your connection to your Jewish roots and to our wonderful community at Central Synagogue. Kent, a bright future waits for you. We have always told you that anything you want to do in this world, you can do. Anything. You set your sights in that direction, and with determination, hard work, humility, a little help, and a sense of humor, it can be done. So, continue to be a kind person. Seek out people and experiences that spark joy. Support the arts, music, theater, museums. They bring richness to our lives. Look for the good. It is there. Sometimes it's hard to find, but it's always there. Ask for help when you need it, and offer help freely to those in need. In closing, our wish for you and for your brother Neil as well. May you have a fantastic, adventurous, and fulfilling life with family, friends, and a dog or two. May you always be surrounded by love, continue to have good health, and feel safe. And finally, from a favorite book of yours and mine, The Outsiders, the character Johnny said it so beautifully. Stay gold, pony boy. We love you.
And as we stand here today on the Bima, we are celebrating with you, your family and friends, clergy, and the Central Synagogue congregation, a significant event in your life as a person and as a Jew. When you began religious school, we were asked to share our thoughts on what being Jewish meant to us. A number of words came to my mind, including family, tradition, respect, Torah, learning, mitzvah, community, empathy, tzedakah, morals, and ancestors. Kent, in your first 13 years, you've begun to understand and be guided by the underlying meanings of these words and what it is to be Jewish and a good human being. When I stood where you're standing, for my bar mitzvah with my parents, I could never have imagined that I'd be back in the same spot many years later. I'm going to ruin the funny line with gray hair. A wonderful wife, celebrating one of my son's Bar Mitzvahs. Time goes by quickly. Embrace the opportunities to make yourself and the world around you better. Always remember to laugh and be honest and kind to others, and listen to your internal compass. Ken, Mom, and I are so proud of you and look forward to seeing you continue to learn and grow as a person. We love you very much.
My Torah portion is taken from. Yeah, you can go.
You're just doing naturally what I would ask you to do anyway, which is amazing. Yeah, everyone can be seated, absolutely.
My Torah portion is taken from Parsha Tazria Metzora, from the book Leviticus, chapter 14, verses 1 through 9. For my first Aliyah, I call upon my brother Neil and my cousin Sam.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvara.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvara Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayedaber Adonai El Moshe Lemor Zot Tehiyeh Torah HaMetzorah Beyom Tahorato Behuva El HaKohen Veyatza HaKohen El Mechutz Lamachana Vera'ah HaKohen Vehine Nerpar Nerga Hasarat Min Hasarua.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah temet v'chaye olam nata b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
For my second Aliyah, I call upon my Grandpa Bill and my Grandma Joyce.
Bill, Joyce, Bill, Joyce.
Baruch Hu es Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'nasan lanu es Torah. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'tziva HaKohen v'lakach lamitaher shtei tziporim hayot tehorot ve'etz erez ushni tolat ve'ezov. V'tziva HaKohen v'shachat et hasipor hayat el kli herez al mayim chayim. Et hasipor hachaya yikach ota ve'etz ha'erez ve'shnei hatolat ve'et ha'ezov ve'taval otam ve'et hatzipor ha'haya ve'dam hatzipor ha'shehuta al amayim ha'chayim.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah semes v'chaye olam notach b'sochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Kent, I have the pleasure now of calling you to the Torah by your Hebrew name for the first time in your life. And this is the greatest honor that we can give in our community. You are so deserving of this honor, the way that you have approached this day with strength and resilience and a sense of humor. Right up until this moment, you're bringing all of those qualities. It's not a small thing to read from the Torah and stand up there without a rabbi or a cantor right next to you. And you don't need us at all. You are so strong and beautiful all on your own. And I want to thank you for that. When you're ready to talk about becoming a cantor, let me know. We can have a little chat.
Or a rabbi. Or a rabbi.
Or a rabbi. Or a rabbi. Well, Rabbi Lorge and I can fight over that.
Rabbis are clergy too.
Rabbis are clergy too. Rabbis are also good. Kent, you have 3 Hebrew names, which seems fitting to you. All of your specialness couldn't be contained in a single name. And the first one feels particularly fitting, which is Simcha, which means joy. And you bring joy to all of us, to this whole community, to your family and friends and loved ones. And you've certainly brought that to this process. So it's in the spirit of joy and appreciation for the beautiful person that you are that I call you to the Torah by your Hebrew name now. Ya'amod ha-Bar Mitzvah, Simcha Yehuda Pesach, Ben Faivel v'Malcha Nechama, La'aliyah LeTorah.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vehi zal hamitaher min hasarat sheve pamim vetiharo veshilach et hasipor haya al pnei atzadeh vechibes hamitaher et begadav vegilach et kol saro. Verachat b'mayim v'taher v'achar yavo el hamachane v'yashav mihutz halo shivat yamim v'haya v'ayum hashvi v'yagalach et kol saro et rosho v'et zekano v'et gabot einav v'et kol saro yagaleach v'chibet et begadav v'rachat ebesaro b'mayim v'taher. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah temet v'chayei olam nata b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
We're cheering for you down here, just so you know. I'm sure there's cheering for you upstairs too. Please introduce your Haftorah portion for us.
The Haftorah for this week is taken from the book of 2 Kings. I will be reading from chapter 7, verses 3 through 7. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar b'nviim tovim, v'ratza v'divrehem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai haboher b'torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo uvim v'ha'emet v'tzedek.
Amen.
Ve'arba Anashim Ayu Metzorim Petach Hashar Vayomeru Ish El Reu Ma Anachnu Yoshvim Po Ad Matnu Im Amarnu Navo Hayir V'Hara'av Bahir V'Amatnu Sham V'Im Yashav Nufo V'Amatnu V'Ata Lelchu V'Nipla El Machane Aram Im Yechayunu Nishye V'Im Yamitunu V'Amatnu Vayakumu Vaneshef Lavo El Machane Aram Vayavo Ad Ketsei Machane Aram V'Hine Ein Sham Ish V'Adonai Ishmiya Ad Machane Aram Kol rechev, kol sus, kol chayil gadol, vayomeru ish el achiv, hine sachar aleinu, melech Yisrael et malkei hachitim, vet malkei Mitzrayim, lavo aleinu. Vayakumu, vayanusu vaneshef, vayaazu ezolehem, ve'etsusehem, ve'tchamorehem, hamachane kol ashehi, vayanusu el nafsham. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Sor kol holamim, Sadik b'kol hadarot, Ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, Hamdaber u'mkayim, Shekol devarav emet v'tzedek, Al ha'torah ve'al huvadah ve'al hanevim ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh she'natata lanu Adonai Eloheinu litusha ve'lenucha lechavod ultiferet v'akol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach u'mvarchim otah yitbarashim ha'befiv chochai tamid le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai
Uveru Shemo.
Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Yasher Koach. Kent. So having passed the car alarm test, which only the advanced students get, we're going to get the train whistles ready outside. And as they get ready for the train whistles, I'll ask you to go ahead and you can roll up the Torah a little bit, make some room for yourself, and then we'd love for you to teach us a little bit about the Torah portion you so beautifully chanted for us.
Okay. A long, long time ago, in a place far, far away, God spoke to Moses, explaining how a priest should purify a leper. The priest should go and see if the person still has leprosy. If the priest is satisfied with the condition of the leper, he has to collect 2 birds, cedar wood, and a special fragrant herb. 1 bird is to be sacrificed over fresh water. This bird shall be sprinkled 7 times on the person to be purified. The second bird shall be set free, which symbolizes how the leper escaped death. As I read this text about diseases, quarantines, and how the sick are allowed back into the community, it was easy to find connections to our lives right now. I was struck by the fact that even though the leper appears to be cured, he or she still has to get purified by the priest before being let back into society. The leper is living outside of the community, which requires the priest to go to the person. The priest was not there to pray, comfort, or cure the leper. He was there to see if the leper was cured and they could go through purification ritual. Leprosy is not like your normal cold. People thought it was a spiritual disease and could only be inflicted by God. So God was the only one to cure the leper. These rituals that were shared with Moses were put in order to keep the community safe. If people did not follow these rituals, they would put themselves and their community in jeopardy. An ill person who feels that they are fine may still be sick and could come back to their community too soon. Having a priest confirm that you are safe to come back was a very important safety procedure. The disease the Torah discusses in the portion seems to have been very highly contagious, and the procedures ensured that the disease was contained. The lessons that I've taken away from this text are very relevant to today. We are also living with a contagious disease that is requiring us to ask questions about how we keep each other safe. We see in the Torah that it wasn't the leper who decided when to return to the community. It was a priest, a qualified person, who made that choice. People that are infected with COVID-19 must likewise take steps before going back to their daily lives. In modern society, it is not the priest who certifies your health. It is your doctor. The procedures that the priest took is like getting a negative COVID test. It does not matter if you look fine or feel fine. That does not determine whether you can safely return to the community. The determining factor is if you still have the virus or leprosy in your system. It makes sense that you cannot jump back into the world as you left it, no matter how much we might want to. We are responsible for each other and the communities in which we live. One person acting selfishly can destroy an entire community. The Torah recognizes this lesson. As Jews, we are being taught to look after our communities, not just ourselves. That lesson applies in pandemic and far, far into our day-to-day decisions, long after we can take off our masks. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom and Yasher Koach. Kent, you have so tremendously led us in worship this morning, reading Torah and Haftorah, teaching us those beautiful words of Torah and that lesson that, as you said, is timely but also timeless. And I know Cantor Cadrain said there's a group of people right below us who are cheering. I know that there is a congregation right here who is ready to just burst with the pride and love they feel. And they extend to folks I know who are on live stream, like your Uncle Lewis and his family, your Aunt Beth and their family, I think Cousin Matthew who's in Israel, your great uncle and aunt Mark and Reba, your Aunt Carol, your aunt and uncle Sandra and Tom, that there is beyond them just members of our congregation and the extended just virtual community. Everybody wants a chance to celebrate you. And so we want to give people an outlet for that. So I'm going to invite your immediate family back up to the bima, and we're going to sing our song of celebration, Siman Tov U'Mazel Tov. And I'll invite everybody to have to go ahead and stand up so that we can really project out that energy and love that we're feeling right now.
Siman Tov U'Mazel Tov U'Mazel Tov Siman Tov Siman Tov U'Mazel Tov U'Mazel Tov Siman Tov Siman Tov U'Mazel Tov U'Mazel Tov Siman Tov Yehelanu 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 Ulecho Yisrael Yehelanu Yehelanu Ulecho Yisrael Yehelanu Yehelanu Ulecho Yisrael Yehelanu Yehelanu Ulecho Yisrael.
Well, I'll invite you now to join me at the Ark so that I can share some of the most ancient words of blessing we have in our tradition. I'll invite the congregation here and those who are joining us virtually to remain standing if you're able as we open the Ark, and to make sure that everyone can add their blessings in this moment.
Here with you beside me, I feel so greatly blessed. This moment means much more than I can say. A time to be together, a time for us to rest. Shabbat is here, the time has come to celebrate the day. So I hold you close, my hands upon your head. And from me to you, my child, these words are said. Yesimcha Elohim, Ke'Ephraim v'chi Menashe. May God give you life and strength like Joseph's sons. Yisibech Elohim, Kesara Rivka, Rachel Leah. May God make you like our mothers, like our blessed ones. As I watch you growing, I smile through my tears. Sometimes I wish you'd stay forever small. But then I see you blossom, and I befriend the passing years. I love you now, I love you then. I love to see it all. So I lift my voice to offer you this prayer. For every step along the road, I will be there. Yesimcha Elohim, Ke'Ephraim v'chi Menashe. May God give you life and strength like Joseph's sons. Yisibech Elohim, Kesara Rivka, Rachel Leah. May God make you like our mothers, like our blessed ones.
Every service ends with a moment of memory and memorial. Our congregation remembers dear ones lost in recent weeks. We're thinking of Stanford Abram, brother of Amy Goldberger, Lawrence Aubrey Brenzel, father of Beth, Aaron Dotson, Norma Friedman, mother of Richard and Stephen, Shulamit Gittleson, mother of Moshe, Riva, and Ora, Carol Abramson Grossman, Harav Meir Isur ben Shlomo Vechaya Halevi, brother of Alan, Robert Kalish, Alice Kern, husband of Annie, brother of Arthur, father of James, Andy, Doug, and Ben, Miriam Kleinfeld, mother of Karen, Jay, Gail, and Shelley, Hermina Ryder, mother of Eddie, Lawrence Weisberg, husband of Adele, father of Roger, and grandfather of Allison, Daniel, and Liza, Barry Wolin, father of Amanda, and Raquel Zarin. We think of them, we think of those whose yard sites occur on this Shabbat. Especially on this Shabbat, we think of Michael Weinberger. And holding them in our hearts, we turn to page 294. 294, as we join together in words of Kaddish Yatom. I'll invite you to rise or remain standing if you're able. Yitkadal v'yidkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach chirteh v'amlich malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'izman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar, v'yitale, v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha, barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Ta'amiran be'amav v'yimru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'yimru amen.
We feel such a sense of peace watching you take your place, Kent, in our community, and we pray that this peace radiates out from here to all of Manhattan and to all the world. And we'll join together in a closing song for peace. We'd like to invite you, Kent, and your family back up to the bima to join us in this song of celebration.
Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam shalom. Salam aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam shalom. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam.
Mazel tov.
Shabbat shalom.
שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, פסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, פסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, בכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ובכל הנאות, נורא הוא אלוהים. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, פסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. כי כל אלוהים העמים אלילים, אדוני שמיים עשה, הוד והדר לפניו, עוז ותפארת במקדשו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, פסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירם הים ומלואו, יעלו שדי ויבואו לשמו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, פסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, פסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, פסרו מיום ליום ישועתו.
Adonai roi lo echsar binot deshe yarbitzeni al mei menuchot yenaleini nafshi yeshovev yancheni v'magelei tzedek yancheni v'magelei tzedek leman shemo gam ki elech begeit salmavet lo irara ki ata imadi shivtecha umishantecha hema yenachamuni taroch lefanai shulchan neged zorerai dishanta vashemen roshi kosi revaya ach tu v'chesed yirdefuni Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Ki Ata Hu Melech Adon Adon Lechol Hashalom Be'tov b'necha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה שעה בשלומך יא לה 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 יא לה Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Ki Ata Hu Melech Adon Adon Lechol
Shabbat Shalom and welcome. We invite you to settle in, and we begin with the words Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah. That means let us sing together. Please join us. Hava, Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. 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 Hava, Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to Central Synagogue. Welcome to the congregation present here in the sanctuary. Welcome to everyone who's joining us virtually. It's wonderful to be able to spend Shabbat, observe this sacred day together. I'm Rabbi Ari Lorge, and I'm joined by Cantor Julia Cadrain downstairs with our incredible musicians who add so much oneg, so much joy to our worship. We're joined by wonderful members of our AV team and security team and our facilities team who are helping to ensure that we can continue to worship safely and to bring these services out to the congregation and the community. It's a beautiful day, and it's a beautiful day not just because it's Shabbat, it's also a beautiful day in our congregation because an incredible student is becoming Bat Mitzvah. Talia, we want to say Mazel Tov to you, to your family, to your friends. We're taught that when a student becomes B'nai Mitzvah, it's not just their family that celebrates, and it's not just their congregation that celebrates. The entire house of Israel, all over the world, rejoices and celebrates to see another student take their place in the story of our people that continues to unfold. And it is, though, an extraordinary pleasure to be able to do that here in this sanctuary that's been such a big part of your life and your story, going all the way back to the parenting center when you were very little and a part of this community. And here you are, ready to be called to Torah. It just makes us beyond privileged and proud. Our hearts are so full this morning. So we can't wait for you to lead us in worship in a little bit. But we're going to begin our service with some of our prayers that get us ready and wake us up. It's still a little bit morning, and there are some horns blaring that are trying to wake us up, so we're going to wake up with them. And Cantor Cadrain's going to let us know what and where the service will continue.
We'll rise together in body or in spirit and turn to page 108 for Baruch Hu, the call to prayer, our way of saying we're here together, we're ready to share in this experience together.
So please rise.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Please be seated. We continue on page 114 with the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed, Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים ללכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. We continue on page 122 with our Song of Freedom. We invite you to rise now as we turn to page 124. Adonai sefatai tiftach u'friya giteilatecha. Adonai, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. We continue now with a few moments of personal reflection and prayer. We invite you to remain standing or be seated as you're comfortable.
As we prepare for Seder Kriyat Torah, the service for the reading of Torah, we're going to call up Talia so that she can begin. Sorry? Oh, so that she can begin the service, and we'll call up your immediate family to surround you too. You can go ahead and take your masks off now that you're up here.
The light of Torah shines forth from Zion. Adonai's teachings flow from Jerusalem. This scroll has nurtured our people from Sinai to today. It teaches us love and justice, hope and peace.
This is a miraculous moment. We don't take it for granted that we're standing here in the middle of Manhattan getting ready to pass down words that are from a scroll 3,000 years old to you. This moment transports us, Talia, through time, all the way back to when we stood at the foot of Mount Sinai and first received this scroll. In that moment, we promised as a people that we would make these words the foundation of our lives, and that we would, when the time was right, pass them down to the next generation. That's been our promise that we've kept for thousands of years. And you now are a part of that chain of tradition, receiving this Torah from the generations that have come before you, the generations who have passed down wisdom and values and ethics, shaping the person, the incredible and beautiful person, the strong person who we see you becoming. It's something we have to picture, if we can, that line that stretches all the way back beyond those who you can see right now in this congregation and those family members who are joining virtually too, all the way back to the foot of that mountain. And in some ways, you yourself were there then, taking Torah that day. That's what, in some ways, this moment symbolizes, is you claiming Torah in that moment yourself. And you're part of not just our people's story, but also the incredible story of your own family. And so it's a real privilege and honor to ask that your parents might share some words with you now too.
Talia, my grandmother, who you were named for, used to like to tell me, when we plan and God laughs. And of course I thought that was ridiculous back then. But right now, after 2020 showed us how unpredictable life is, I know that is very true. But despite the uncertainty and the constant changing of plans, one thing never wavered. You were committed to studying for your Bar Mitzvah. I'm not going to lie, that was a pretty big surprise for me and Jason, especially because you would not chant your Torah portion for us until you said you had mastered it, which we were not sure when that would happen. But you knew this moment was important, and it connects you to your Jewish community and to generations of Jews that have come before you. We need to thank the amazing leadership here at Central for guiding you on this journey, as the rabbi said, since you were 2 years old or 1 year old, but very small. And from Rabbi Lord and Cantor Kadreen, who are here with you today and celebrating this moment, to your Hebrew tutor and all of your amazing Hebrew school teachers we've had over the years, we say thank you. In celebration of this moment, we're giving you this beautiful talit that you're wearing today. It looks like it's brand new, and today is the first day that you are wearing it. So I'm sure you're wondering how this can possibly connect you to generations of your family's past and all the Jews who've come before you. Well, first, this talit is a gift from your grandparents who went to Israel in 2018, and even then were thinking about your Bar Mitzvah. Second, it comes from a famous artist colony in the Canaan Gallery in Sfat, which is the town where on your Babu's side, on your grandpa's side, your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather first settled 8 generations ago in 1840, which I learned the other day is around the time this temple was being conceived and thought of as well. And the story goes, as all, myths and folklores as they continue, was that he was some famous doctor in Svat who saved the life of a Prussian princess. And if you'd like to read the story after, Babu has it all written up in a folklore for you. But hopefully one day soon we can take you to Israel to celebrate our family's heritage together and to learn more about these folklores.
What you have accomplished here today is no small feat. You should feel incredibly proud of yourself, and you should know how incredibly proud of you we are as well. And we really want you to remember this feeling of accomplishment as you embark on all of your next adventures, and we are sure that there will be so many of them. Our hope for you is that you will continue to surround yourself with people and things that you love. Family and friends will support you in your weakest moments and celebrate you in your best. And that is truly what community is about. And just seeing all the people who are here today with you, we know that you know that. Although it's going to be still a long time before you are fully an adult, we know that you are on your way. And we feel fortunate that we've been able to get a glimpse of the adult that you will become. And so as you continue your journey into adulthood, always know that we are always on your side, even when you're cranky or roll your eyes at us. We will always fight for you. We will always laugh with you, and we will be ready to tackle any task or play any game, particularly blackjack. But most of all, know how much we love you.
So we want to invite the rest of the congregation to be seated now. And Talia will ask you if you'd be so kind to introduce your Torah portion and to call up your first aliyah.
My Torah portion is taken from Parshat Tasriah Mitzorah, from the book of Leviticus, chapter 13, verses 18 through 28. For my first aliyah, I call upon my grandparents, Karen and Neil, and my aunt and uncle, Carly and Michael. Do they have the blessings? Yeah. Are they holding them?
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher barach banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torah. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Uvasar ki hiye vo ve'oro shechin v'nirpa v'haya bimkom hashechin seit levana o vaheret levana adam damet v'nir'a el hakohen v'ra'a hakohen v'hinei mar'eha shafal min ha'or usara hafach lavan v'timeo hakohen negasarat ki bashechin paracha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
For my second For my second Aliyah, I call upon my parents, Melissa and Jason.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Vahed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amin, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ve'im yireina hakohen, ve'hinei ein ba se'or lavan, ushfala eineina min ha'or, ve'hicheha, ve'hiskiro hakohen, shivat yamim, ve'im paso tifsei ba'or, ve'timei hakohen, oto negahi, ve'im tachteha ta'amod habaheret lo fasta va'or ve'hicheha se tamichva hi ve'tiharo hakohen.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nota b'chotenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. So Talia, in just a moment, you'll chant the blessing before reading Torah, which I know you're ready to do. And you are doing such a beautiful job with the Torah reading. I'm so proud of you, and it's really a pleasure to be able to offer you now the greatest honor that we can ever give. This will be the first time in your life that you receive this honor, and that is to be called up to the Torah by your Hebrew name. You have approached this process with such strength and commitment and kindness and humor, and I know that you will carry those qualities forward with you, not just to the Bat Mitzvah process, but to everything that you do from this point forward. So it's in the spirit of true pride and appreciation for the beautiful person that you are and everything that you bring to us that I call you to the Torah by your Hebrew name now. Ta'amod, ta'amod, ta'amod habat mitzvah, tov bezisa, batsura mendel ve'yona. Now Talia will invite you to chant that first Torah blessing.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, ve'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
O vasar ki hiye ve'oro michvat esh ve'hayata michyat hamichva baheret levana adam demet o levana vera'av ota hakohen ve'hinei nepach Se'or lavan baba heret umar eha amok min haor zarat hi bamichva paraha vetime oto hakohen negasarat hi ve'im yirena hakohen ve'hinei ein baba heret se'or lavan ushfala eineina min haor ve'hicheha ve'hiskiro hakohen shivat yamim vera'ahu hakohen bayom hashavi'i im paso tifsei va'or ve'timei hakohen oto negasarat hi ve'im im tachteha tamod habaheret lo fasata va'or vehi cheha se tamichva hi vetiharo hakohen ki sarevet hamichva hi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Talia, I'm cheering for you down here. I hope you feel it. That was fantastic. We'll invite your parents now to take their seats. And Talia, we'd love for you to introduce your Haftorah portion.
Just before you introduce the Haftorah, could you just close up the Torah scroll a little bit? That gives you a little bit more room. Perfect.
The Haftorah for this week is taken from the book of 2 Kings. I will be reading from chapter 7, verses 14 through 20. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar bin bi'im tovim v'razah v'divrehem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai aboher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'v'Yisrael amo u'v'nvi'ei ha'emet v'zedek.
Amen.
Vayichu shenei rechev suasim vayishla hamelech haharei mahanei Aram lemor lechu ora'u vayelechu ahareihem ad hayarden vehinei kol haderech melea vegadim vechelim asher hishlichu Aram bechovzam vayashuvu hamalachim vayagidu lamelech vayazeh ha'am vayavozu eight mahanei Aram vayehi seasolet veshekel vesatayim seorim veshekel ki dvar Adonai vehamelech hivkid et hashalish asher nish'an al yado al hasha'ar vayirmesuhu ha'am basha'ar vayamot kasher diber ish ha'elohim asher diber beredet hamelech elav vayehi kedaber ish ha'elohim el hamelech lemor satayim seorim veshekel usasolet veshekel yihyeh ka'et mahar besha'ar shomron vaya'an hashalish et ish ha'elohim vayomar vehinei Adonai oseh arubot bashamayim hayihyeh kadavar hazeh vayomer hin havroeh be'eineha umisham lo tochel vayehi lo kain vayirmesu oto ha'am basha'ar vayamot.
Yasher Koach. That was really such incredible chanting. I'm really excited that we'll now have a chance to ask you to teach some words about your Torah portion that you also so wonderfully chanted for us. I would say I know that so much of this process, Talia, was harder than it otherwise would have been because of this pandemic. That I think, for most students, when they get assigned Tazria Mitzora as their Parsha for their Torah portion, in most years past, that's been a horrific, scary thing. This Torah portion about diseases and being sent out of the camp and all of these weird, obscure rules. And I think the only silver lining in all of this was, maybe the only thing that was a little bit easier for you, was that you found some really incredibly timely relevancy in this Torah portion. And so I'm so excited for you now to share that teaching with our community.
My Torah portion is about what you do if an inflammation appears on your skin. The Torah teaches us that the person who has the disease has to leave the community. The ancient priests were the ones who made the final call about whether the person can go back to normal life or has to continue to quarantine. The priest made the sick person quarantine for 7 days even after they were healed. Then after those 7 days, the priest looked at the inflammation to see if it had gotten worse or better. Depending on this, the priest will make the decision on whether or not the person has to continue to quarantine. Part of this section of Torah that stood out to me was how the Israelites had such clear and direct rules about quarantining. I wonder how the priest decided 7 days was the right amount of time to wait. One of the main questions I've had through this COVID experience is what rules to follow. Living through this pandemic, it felt like every day the quarantine rules switched. For example, one day the requirement was that a person had to quarantine for 7 days when entering New York State. Then a few days later, the rules changed and we were told it was 3 days for New York State quarantine. The constantly changing rules stand in contrast to what is outlined in the Torah this week. In a global crisis, it is good to have consistent rules so everyone is on the same page. This is something I admire about the ancient Israelites. Even when something new arrived, like the leprosy outbreak, they remained calm and the community received easy-to-understand instructions. The reason this is a good thing is because if everyone understands the rules, everyone will be able to follow them. When the rules remain consistent, the people are more likely to follow them correctly, leading the crisis to end sooner. While we might wish that was possible today, the rules changed so much in response to COVID because COVID is a new idea, so we did not know what it was at first, and honestly, we still do not completely understand how it works today. We've needed greater flexibility through this experience. However, we've seen that the changing of rules over time has led to some people failing to understand what they can and can't do. Obviously, the guidelines should change when we know how to better prevent people from getting sick, but the more the rules change, the more it erodes public confidence in the situation. Every time we receive new guidelines, there is greater risk of confusion. Knowing this, I think we can all agree that for future crises, it is better to remain steady and calm. The clear rules in Torah, I imagine, helped keep the Israelites level-headed and prevented them and their society from slightly breaking down. Not only does remaining calm help rules come out clearer, but it also is better for our mental health. When COVID first started, people were terrified by it and had a lot of extra stress on their backs. Knowing how to keep ourselves safe helps reduce anxiety and worry. This is the gift of clear and consistent rules.
Yasher Koach. We want to take a moment to celebrate you, having so beautifully led us this morning in worship, chanted Torah, Haftarah, taught us your words of Torah. We know that it's not just this congregation that's present here, but also it includes folks who are watching us virtually, like Judy Barrow, like Jason, your siblings, like Talia, your stepsisters, and in fact, others from our congregation who are just tuning in because they love seeing our B'nai Mitzvah take their place and celebrating with you. And we know that there's also even probably complete strangers who are just online going, yes, Talia, Mazel Tov, well done. And we need to express that. There's a Yiddish word. Do you know the word kvel? You don't know kvel? Kvel is like to be bursting with pride and joy. And we need to give expression to that. So we're all going to rise. We're going to sing Siman Tov Mazel Tov. I want to invite you to come back up to the bima so that you can surround Talia. And we're going to have some chance to kvel now so that we can celebrate.
Siman Tov Mazel Tov Mazel Tov Siman Tov Mazel Tov Mazel Tov Siman Tov Siman Tov Mazel Tov Mazel Tov Siman Tov yeah. Ula
ask the congregation to remain standing, and Talia, I'll invite you to join me at the ark so that I can offer some of the most ancient words of blessing our tradition has to offer. I know I'm not the only one who walked in this morning with words of blessing for Talia, so all of us can silently offer up our aspirations, our hopes, our blessings for Talia this morning while I am privileged to share these official words.
Here with you beside me, I feel so greatly blessed. This moment means much more than I can say. A time to be together, a time for us to rest. Shabbat is here, the time has come to celebrate the day. So I hold you close, my hands upon your head. And from me to you, my child, these words are said. Yesimcha Elohim, Ke'Ephraim v'chimna Hashem. May God give you life and strength like Joseph's sons. Yisimech Elohim, Kesara Rivka, Rachel Leah. May God make you like our mothers, like our blessed ones. May God make you like our parents, like our blessed ones.
Our worship always concludes with a moment for memory and memorial. In our congregation, we're remembering these dear ones who died in recent weeks. Stanford Abram, brother of Amy. Lawrence Aubrey Brenzel, father of Beth. Aaron Dotson. Norma Friedman, mother of Richard and Stephen. Shulamit Gittleson, mother of Moshe, Riva, and Ora. Carol Abramson Grossman. Harav Meir Isur ben Shlomo Vechaya Halevi, brother of Alan. Robert Kalish. Ellis Kern, husband of Annie, brother of Arthur, father of James, Andy, Doug, and Ben. Miriam Kleinfeld, mother of Karen, Jay, Gail, and Shelley. Hermina Reiter, mother of Eddie. Lawrence Weisberg, husband of Adele, father of Roger, grandfather of Allison, Daniel, and Liza. Barry Wolin, father of Amanda, and Raquel Zarin. We think of them, we think of those whose yartzites occur on the Shabbat, and we think of the names of those who you'd add into this moment by sharing their name aloud. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing, as we recite the words of Kaddish Yatom together on page 294, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach chirate v'amlich malchute, b'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei alamaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, ta'amiran be'amav v'imru, amen. Yehei shalom bimramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen.
Talia, we'd like to invite you and your family back up to the podium as we close with a song for peace. We feel such a sense of peace witnessing you take your place in our community, and we pray that this peace radiates out to the whole sanctuary, to all of Manhattan, and to all the worlds. Odiavo shalom aleinu. Odiavo shalom aleinu. Odiavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Odiavo shalom aleinu. Odiavo shalom aleinu. Odiavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Odiavo shalom aleinu. Odiavo shalom aleinu. Odiavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam shalom. Salam aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam shalom. Odiavo shalom aleinu. Odiavo shalom aleinu. Odiavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Mazal tov, Shabbat
Mazel
shalom.
tov, Shabbat shalom.
ומרחביה מן המצר קראתיה ענני ומרחביה עודך כי ענית אני ותהי לי לישועה עודך כי ענית אני ותהי לי לישועה. ענני, 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 answer me. ענני, 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 answer me. ענני, 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 answer me. ענני, 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 מן המצר קראתיה ענני ומרחביה מן המצר קראתיה ענני ומרחביה עודך כי ענית אני ותהי לי לישועה עודך כי ענית אני ותהי לי לישועה. ענני, 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 answer me. ענני, 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 answer me. ענני, 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 answer me. ענני, 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 I called out to you from a narrow place. Your answer came to me from a wide open space. My heart cried out for you wherever you are. Your hand reached out to me min hametzar. Aneni, 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 answer me. 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 Aneni, 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 answer me.
sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Ve'asuli mikdash ve'shachanti betocham va'anachnu nevarech me'ata ve'ad olam. Oh Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Oh, guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps and help me make this day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps.
Shabbat Shalom and welcome. We begin with these words, Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah. I just realized I don't need my mask for this particular moment.
It's an accessory. It's the
It
way we
is.
accessorize now.
Thank you for noticing. That's totally what it is.
We could all.
You look great, Rabbi Lorch. Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah. That means let us sing a song of praise together. Please join us. Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. 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 Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone who's here in the sanctuary together. We want to say Shabbat Shalom to all of you who are joining us virtually. I'm Rabbi Ari Lorge, and I'm joined by Cantor Kadrain, who's downstairs in the pavilion with our wonderful musicians and musical team, adding so much joy and beauty to our worship. We're also joined by members of our AV team, who are the ones helping us beam this service out and connect to so many more in the community and beyond. We're joined by wonderful members of our security team and facilities team, all of whom are enabling us to worship safely but together. And we are joined by someone else extraordinarily important today, but most days too. I think the community would agree. Harrison, who is becoming Bar Mitzvah this morning. Harrison, we want to say Mazel Tov, and how excited we are to be marking this simcha and this joyous occasion and moment. We are so delighted and full-hearted that we're going to be able to call you to Torah this morning, that you'll be leading us in our Torah service. For now, though, you can remain seated. We're going to begin and continue our worship with some prayers to warm us up. I have a sense that you're ready, but we want everyone else to be ready with you. So we're going to give people a chance to warm up to worship and to lift up gratitude and praise so they can match your level of excitement by the time that we call you up. And so Cantor Kadrain's going to tell us how we're continuing our service.
We will continue on page 108 with the call to prayer, the Baruch Hu. We invite you to rise for this. This is our way of saying we're here together, ready to share in this moment. Baruch Hu, et Adonai HaMevorach, Please be seated. We continue on page 114 with the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Avad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לו לכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. We continue on page 122 with our Song of Freedom. Page 124, we rise together in body or in spirit. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agitei latecha. Adonai, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. We continue now with a few moments of quiet personal reflection and prayer, and we invite you to either remain standing or be seated, however you're comfortable. Imrefi, vehegyon libi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri,
prepare now for Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for the reading of Torah. We're going to call up Harrison and your immediate family to the bima so that you can begin the Torah service. Come on forward. And Harrison, when you come up, you can take your mask off and then begin that English reading that'll begin the service. Your family can come up and surround you, yeah.
The light of Torah shines forth from Zion. Adonai's teachings flow from Jerusalem. This scroll has nurtured our people from Sinai to today. It teaches us love and justice, hope and peace.
This is what we call a Sinai Moment, because this moment right here, right now, on this bima in Manhattan, we are imagining ourselves, and in some ways more than imagining, it's like reliving, reenacting, embodying, as if we were standing at the foot of Mount Sinai, and you were present among all of the Israelite people, waiting with anticipation and hearing the shofar sound and seeing thunder and fire up on the mountain, knowing that God was giving to the people these words that are now in front of you in that scroll. We imagine that moment, and we imagine being part of that generation that made a promise that we would make those words the center of our lives, and when the time was right, we would teach them to the next generation. And here you are, claiming those words written before you in this scroll that has followed our people for thousands of years in lands all over the world. The constant and the consistent thing being that we would use these words to make meaning out of what was happening around us, and that we would pass them on when the time was right. We see who you are, this incredible person who's being shaped by your family and by your community, the incredible goodness and kindness, the intelligence and curiosity that are shaping who you're becoming. And we know that we are incredibly lucky to have someone like you ready to march these words forward, and when the time is right, teach them to the next generation. We are so incredibly proud of you. We, your clergy, but also this community, this part of Central Synagogue, and also just the entire Jewish people celebrates today, knowing that Harrison is coming to Torah. But more than, or in addition to this congregation and the greater community of Israel, you're a part of incredible family stories too. And to talk about the meaning, to see you here on the bima taking your place, I'm going to invite your parents now to share some words with you.
Harrison, Mazel Tov on becoming a Bar Mitzvah today. You've worked very hard to prepare, and we know you will do an amazing job at your service. Today, in the eyes of the Jewish religion, you are a man. Whenever you are given a task, you approach it with thoughtful consideration and work diligently and responsibly until you accomplish your goal. Today and every day, we are so proud of you.
Becoming a Bar Mitzvah is an important rite of passage. It marks the beginning of your life as a Jewish adult. Being Jewish is an honor and a responsibility. The Torah and our traditions have been passed down from generation to generation for thousands of years. You've been educated in our values and customs, and now it's your turn to take your place in the Jewish community. Along with the benefit of belonging comes the obligation to pass this knowledge on to the next generation by teaching our values and customs to your children. To commemorate your accomplishment, we want to give you this cup. There we go. This is for you. Hold it up. Which belonged to your great-grandfather, Irving Fisher. His parents immigrated to New York City from Austria. He worked his way up from the Lower East Side to Cornell University to become an accomplished doctor and war veteran. He worked hard and believed in celebrating life's good fortunes. This cup says L'chaim, which is a Hebrew toast meaning to life and to good health. This seems especially fitting during this time of pandemic. This oversized cup is for an oversized life filled with good health, wealth, and happiness. May your cup runneth over. May you have more than enough for your needs. And may you always remember the Jewish concept of tzedakah and give back to your community and to others in need. My grandfather Irving passed this cup on to his son, your grandfather David, who passed it on to me, and now I'm passing it on to you. This passing symbolizes the chain and continuity of Jewish identity and tradition within our family. As we pass this cup to you, remember you are a link in a strong chain. Accept the Torah and its lessons. Feel the love that surrounds you, and draw strength from your community. May you always remember the tradition and significance of this day, and may you one day pass on this cup and all that it symbolizes to those who will come after you. Mazel tov and l'chaim. We love you.
So Harrison, surrounded by those words of blessing, we're going to ask you to tell us about your Torah portion and also call up your first aliyah.
My Torah portion is taken from Parshat Tezriah from the book of Leviticus, chapter 13, verses 47 to 57. For my first aliyah, I call upon my parents, Stephen and Nicole, and my sister, Chloe.
Baruch
Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ve'habeged ki yehiyeh vo nega tzaraat beveged tzemar o beveged pishtim o vishti o ve'erev la pishtim ve'la tzamer o va'or o bechol melechet or ve'haya hanega yerak rak o Adam dam babeged o va'ur o vasheti o va'erev o bechol keli ur nega tzarat hu vehora et ha-kohen Vera'ah ha-kohen et ha-naga ve'hiskir et ha-nega shivat yamim.
Baruch
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei notan betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Harrison, if you'd announce the next aliyah.
For my second aliyah, I call upon my grandparents, David and Lorraine Fisher.
Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Vahed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amin V'natanyanu et Torato Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
V'ra'a et hanega bayom hashevi'i ki fasa hanega babeged o vasheti o va'erev o va'ur lechol asher ye'aseh ha'ur limlacha tzarat mam'eret hanega tamech hu v'saraf et ha'beged o et hasheti o et ha'erev batzemer o vapishtim o et kokeli ha'ur asher yehiyeh vo hanaga ki tzarat mam eret hiv ba'esh tisaref ve'im yir'eh ha'kohen ve'hinei lo fasa hanega ba'beged o vasheti o va'erev o bechol keli or v'tziva ha'kohen v'chi besu et asher bo hanaga v'hiskiro shivat yamim shenit.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah
Amen. V'chayed alam nata betochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. So, Harrison, in just a moment, you will chant the blessing before reading Torah. And I have the great pleasure now of giving you the greatest honor we can ever give. And this will be the first time in your life that you receive this honor, which is to be called up to the Torah by your Hebrew name. Our Hebrew names are special. They're reserved for sacred moments, not everyday moments. And they also contain our parents' names. So your name grounds you in your roots and your ancestors. And we know that you will carry it forward into the future with the same goodness and kindness and intelligence and wisdom and brightness. I know the car horn agrees with me. That's emphasis on just how special you are, carrying this name forward into the future with all of the beauty that we've already seen in you and everything that you've brought to this moment. So it's in the spirit of appreciation for the person that you are, Harrison, that I call you to the Torah by your Hebrew name. Ya'amod, 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 HaBar Mitzvah. Haran ben Neshama Arana, Vesimcha Mendel.
Baruch et Adonai Hamavarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim Venatan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
V'ra'a hakohen acharei hu kabeis et hanega v'hinei lo hafa hanega et eno vehanega lo fasa tamehu ba'esh tisrefenu pechetet hiv vekarachto o begavachto ve'im Ra'ah kohen vehine keha hanega acharei hu kabeis oto vekara oto min ha-beged o min ha-ur o min ha-sheti O min ha'erev. Ve'im tera'eh od ba'beged o vasheti o va'erev o bechol keli ur Porachat hiv ba'esh tisrefenu et asher bo hanaga. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chaye olam nata b'techenu. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Well, Harrison, you did that like an absolute pro. That was so beautiful and fantastic. I'm cheering for you down here. I have a feeling there's the spirit of cheering upstairs in the sanctuary too. So I'll invite your family now to take their seats again. And Harrison, you'll stay up and please introduce your Haftorah portion for us.
The Haftorah for this week is taken from the book of 2 Kings. I will be reading from chapter 4, verses 42 to 43, and chapter 5, verses 1 to 3. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar binviim tovim veratza vedivrehem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'invi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek.
Amen.
ish ba mi baal shalisha vayave leish ha-Elohim lechem bikurim esrim lechem seorim vecharmel betziglono vayomer tain la'am veyochelu vayomer meshareto ma etain ze lifnei mea ish vayomer tain la'am veyochelu ki cho amar Adonai achol vehoter vayitein lifneihem vayochelu vayotiru kidvar Adonai Vena'aman tzartzeva melech Aram haya ish gadol lifnei Adonav unsu fanim kivo Natan Adonai Teshua la'aram v'ha'ish haya gibor chayil metzorah va'aram yatzeu gedudim vayishbu me eretz Yisrael na'ara ketana vatehi livnei eshet na'aman vatomer el gevirta achalei Adoni lifnei hanavi asher bishomeron az ye'esof oto mitarato. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol haolamim tzadik bechol hadarot ha'el hana'eman ha'omer ve'oseh ha'medaber u'mekayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al haTorah ve'al havodah ve'al hanvi'im ve'al yom haShabbat hazeh Shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha velim nucha lechavod uletifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umevarachim otach yitbarach shimcha bifi kol chai tamid leolam va'ed baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen. Yasher koach. Having chanted Torah and Haftorah, I'm so excited to get to invite you now to teach us a little bit about the Torah portion and your reading of it.
My Torah portion takes place after the Exodus from Egypt. As the Israelites are wandering through the Sinai wilderness, God delivers instructions to Moses detailing the rituals they must follow to gain forgiveness for sins. These rituals allow them to be free from impurities like leprosy, which is a contagious skin condition that causes lesions. My Torah portion specifically details the procedures for wool, linen, and leather fabrics suspected to be infected by leprosy. Leviticus advises those with leprous fabrics and other ritual impurities to report their condition to the priests for inspection, to wash and cleanse, and to quarantine until the priests declare them clean. These are guidelines that we use today to prevent the spread of the COVID-19 virus: testing, washing, cleansing, social distancing, quarantining, and retesting. It is worth noting that the model for Levitical impurity is based on an honor system. Our ancestors trusted individuals to follow public health guidelines even when it was inconvenient or uncomfortable to do so. The well-being of the entire community was considered to be greater than the personal freedoms of individuals. A good citizen willingly sacrificed personal interests and resources for the common good. Today, as we combat COVID-19, we follow a similar honor system. We hope that all individuals in the community accept this value of sacrifice for the common good and choose to abide by the rules, because ultimately, individual freedoms are only possible in a society where all citizens willingly sacrifice some time and effort in order to maintain public safety, order, and stability. However, both in Leviticus and now, there is no enforcement of the rules. We all know the guidelines for preventing the spread of disease, but there is no authority that polices our compliance. It is an individual's responsibility to exercise self-control, follow guidelines, and self-report symptoms for themselves and for the sake of others. In Leviticus, a person with leprous fabrics could easily have kept it a secret and not reported it to the priests. Similarly, during COVID, a person with virus symptoms should self-quarantine at home. They could choose to attend a crowded event instead. They might reason that their symptoms are mild and they don't want to restrict their activities. However, by not following public health guidance, they could infect other people with conditions that make them vulnerable to more serious illness, hospitalization, and death. Beyond Levitical impurity and COVID, each member of society has the responsibility to make the right choices and to understand that bad decisions are harmful to the integrity and well-being of our society. As I become a Bar Mitzvah, I assume the privileges and responsibilities of an adult in the Jewish community. The lessons of Levitical impurity relate to me as I need to be responsible for my own actions. If I neglect to take the appropriate actions, I could bring harm to the entire community. For instance, as much as I would love to celebrate becoming Bar Mitzvah with my family and friends in person today, I have chosen to wait until a time when it's safe to do so. Most of you are not here with me today, but are watching online from the safety of your homes. While this is not the service I imagined we would have when I became Bar Mitzvah, I would not want the joyous occasion to become an opportunity to spread the virus to the community. Our choices and decisions are one standard to judge our character. Torah reminds us this week of the importance of personal responsibility and of putting the community's welfare at the heart of what we choose to do. Until there's a time it's safe to celebrate together in person, wear a mask, maintain social distancing, and wash and cleanse to protect yourself and your community.
Yasher Koach again. Such an important teaching and such a beautiful way to express it. I know you shared so much of today isn't the way you pictured it, but I do think there is one part of today that we would all agree is exactly how we pictured it, which is how much you've made us all proud, and not just how you've led us from the Bima this morning, but also for who you are and the way that you conduct yourself, not just on the Bima, but also in all of the many communities in which you walk. We want to celebrate you, Harrison, and so we're going to stand up, we're going to sing Siman Tovu Mazel Tov, and you have to remember it's not just us and the cantor and the musicians, it's also that huge community watching virtually who are throwing their voices all over the world to you too. So we're going to sing now Siman Tovu Mazel Tov.
Siman Tovu Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tovu Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Yehelanu,
So Harrison, I'm going to invite you now to join me at the Ark. We'll put our masks on, and I'll share some of the ancient words of blessing that come from the Torah and follow us throughout our life cycle. I'll invite us to remain standing if we're able as we open the Ark.
Here with you beside me, I feel so greatly blessed. This moment means much more than I can say. A time to be together, a time for us to rest. Shabbat is here, the time has come to celebrate the day. So I hold you close, my hands upon your head. And from me to you, my child, these words are said. Yes, Simcha Elohim, Ke'Ephraim b'chi Menashe. May God give you life and strength like Joseph's sons. Yesimech Elohim, Kesara Rivka, Rachel v'Leah. May God make you like our mothers, like our blessed ones. May God make you like our parents, like our blessed ones. It fills us with such peace to watch you receive this blessing, Harrison, and to watch you take your place in our community. So we want to actually ask you to stay up at the podium now and to have your family come join you one last time as we close in a song of peace, praying that this peace that we feel today radiates out through all of Manhattan and through all the world. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam shalom. Salam aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam shalom. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Shabbat shalom. Mazal tov.
Mazel tov.